call this meeting to order. And we'll all start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag out the window, pretend it's out there beyond shade. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comment will occur during the public comment portion of the meeting and it can be done by either raising your hand remotely or in person. And during public comment, please state your name and your ward so we can acknowledge in the minutes. And also please limit your comment to the topic that's on the agenda for this evening.
And we just need to ask Kevin to state who it is.
And Kevin, can you please state your name and confirm if anyone's in the room with you and why you're remote?
Yeah, Kevin shoots. No one's in the room with me. Employment conflicts, I guess.
Good enough for me. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Nope. Okay, so we'll have public comment for policy BEDH. Does anyone have anything they would like to address? If you're on Zoom and you'd like to address something, you can raise your hand.
Okay. Yep, right over there. All right, we do have one person. Okay. Do you want to go ahead and state your name and the ward that you live in?
I'm Amelia Serene in Ward 2, and I received notice of this meeting and was able to find an agenda, but I don't know what the agenda is about.
Okay, I'll leave it to you to say, or Tim, what the agenda item is. Oh, I didn't have that either. Okay. So it is a discussion and action item for the purchase of managed detection and response services for the district network and devices for the 23-24 school year.
What does that mean?
We'll talk about it, but it's about basically threat monitoring software for cybersecurity. Into the meeting, and I will let someone take it away with the discussion. Amy.
So as we complete the cyber threats, cyber event, during the recovery and sort of forensic phase, this company Rete that you guys know that we partnered with, put on all of our, or had Tyler and his team put on all of our devices something called Sentinel-1, which is, I mean, I'm not a techie guy, Tyler's your thing. Basically, it detects issues. It was used to sort of try to figure out what happened, and it's a threat protection thing too. So the long and short of it is this license for that product expired actually today. There's a grace period. The reason why we wanted to get together relatively quickly is that we want to continue the Sentinel-1 in our devices. This is a 12-month contract, but the idea would be, they speak highly of it. We think it's done a good job. It has, and I tried to give you some information. I don't know how techy people are, probably more than me, but it does things like it actively notices a threat and then like quarantines it and then tracks where it came from. Plus, Rete has a piece of this where they do they have a live dashboard, and they when we put a new piece of software on our platform, it won't work unless Sentinel-1 is given the okay. So basically, it has to be allowed the software in, kind of thing. So it's protection that we think has been good for the last month, and we'd like to continue it for the next 12 months. And if there's something better or something cheaper, I think the decision can be made with the new tech director and after 12 months, we can consider something else, but this is a way to continue what we have now that has worked, and we think it's wise from a protection standpoint after what we've just been through. So whether it needs to be, the policy is written finance facilities, but there's been some board members thinking it should be the whole board, so we thought it'd be best to get a quorum of the board together to tell you how much it costs and how we're gonna pay for it, because we know we can pay for it without too much issue because of some other things that happened. This is $9 a license, and I gave you the quote, it's $9 a license, and so it's billed monthly, but for the year, it'd be $54,108. So kind of fortunately with that, there was some extra E-rate money that Pete had applied for several months ago and got approved just a few weeks ago. So the devices, a lot of the devices that he bought under this year's budget, they're already in the budget to buy, we're getting rebated. We're getting $94,000 of rebate for that. So we can point 54,000 of that 94,000 towards this, and we're still 40,000 to the good. We bought the stuff according to the budget that.
And that's the 23-24.
Right. So when the budget gets passed in March, Pete starts going out for bid, and we have a whole letter that goes out, says, bid on these, but we're not paying you for July 1. So, but that allows us to get the stuff in place for the New Year's weekend. So he's been doing that for years. So that's why we know the cost. Actually, I think he actually has the devices here already. That's we have to do all this stuff. So the amount of money he asked for rebate on was $133,000, and we got a note back from the state saying that some of that's disallowed, so the total we're gonna pay is $94,100, which is still $40,000 more than we need for this. So this is technically, we didn't talk about this during budget time, so that's why I thought we needed to meet. And so we're asking for the board to approve this so we can continue this program. And again, the reason why it was sort of time sensitive is that we would like this subscription to not lapse. If we sign the documents tomorrow, then we won't see a lapse for sure. I mean, we still have a 10-day grace period. The point is, I don't know what we thought August 23rd. So,
Does anybody have any questions? Stephen?
It's probably directed more at Tyler. Have we had sort of malware type protection?
That's correct. We do. We have had in place and currently have in place semantic antivirus endpoint protection, which is it's pretty standard antivirus. I would just add to what Tim said that the real advantage of the Sentinel-1 platform, it is a little bit more robust, just the application itself than our semantic one, but it's also the live 24/7 monitoring that a Red A is going to be doing for us, the way that they're connected can view the dashboard and really have a lot of insight into the environment. That's a big advantage of this over what we currently have in place.
And this is something that is housed on our servers, or is it on all of the individual
It's on
computers?
all the individual workstation servers and points, yes. And then it talks back to a console that's out on the internet, that's on our FA's end.
So part of what Tyler's work and his team was that it sounds like he had to put the Sentinel-1 on every machine and every server individually, and it's there now. I suspect that they have the ability to somehow take it off quickly instead of one at a time.
They do.
If you don't pay.
Yeah, and we also have the ability, like we had to touch every computer just because of the state that the network was in with the other circumstances going on, but we also have ways to like centrally deploy and undeploy as well.
Now we have our network back.
Exactly.
So then does that make the other software redundant?
I need to double check with the company, but I would suspect yes, it becomes largely redundant in that case.
So then,
And is that an expense that we have currently, the semantic?
It is I believe it's on a 3-year, but I have to double check on what the renewal is on that. Yes.
And how much time left for that for the year? Did you start that?
I believe it was renewed this past in 2022, but I would need to double check on that.
Which is really, I think part of where we're coming from is we're in this state of flux. We just got a network back. We're looking for a new tech director, and we have some questions that let's go through the transition. And so may be a little redundant, but we have the ability to pay for it without increasing the budget at all. And I think it's the wisest, just my opinion, but I think it's the wisest thing to do. And while we continue to get our feet underneath us and figure out what the plan is going forward.
I agree, because again, there were, we had the semantic in place, before the incident as well, and there was clearly a lapse in the way that was set up that allowed this to happen. So I think, it's time to investigate some other solutions.
So you're anticipating potentially that that software will just go away
We may not
in some
need,
way?
right?
Because you feel like this is a better
Yes.
suited for our needs. Okay.
Certainly more robust for that security, as we look to go ahead with our security plans, and cybersecurity steps within our new tech director that we're looking for. I think that's going to be really important for us to look at that overall philosophy and what protections that we can put in for our district and our students and families.
And do we anticipate needing anything additional? Are there other things that we're missing that, or is it really a software thing? Things are.
I mean, there are some other areas that we're looking at. I mean, I think that, there's always areas to improve security, and cybersecurity in particular is something where you need to have many layers in place. You can't just be reliant on one solution. That's never a good strategy. But I think it's an area that we're still, actively investigating and doing work on.
So we shouldn't sort of feel like we've done this and we're good.
I will say that this is a very strong, robust layer of protection. It's probably going to be the strongest layer of assurance that we have on our network right now that something like this is not going to happen again.
So actually, just speaking of insurance, does this like cut down premiums?
Too soon to say.
I would say no. I mean, we just had a cyber incident, so I would suspect that our premium next year is going to be interesting. So the insurance company didn't say get this or else, and it didn't say if you get this we'll reduce it. But the insurance company is largely paying for the incident response we just had. This is going forward, it's not insurance.
And I do plan to meet with the new tech director and the team to review recommendations too, and that we can bring those recommendations to the board through budget season, and other things that are going on in the state and the recommendations they're giving now to schools because of the widespread events that are happening around the country.
So I have a question about the 501. Is that enough licenses? Because if it goes on every computer, is that even including the student computers that it's going on?
It does not go on Chromebooks. It's really only like our Windows and Mac endpoints, and then our servers as well. But it does not go on Chrome devices. So yeah, we do feel that 501 licenses is sufficient. We already have it deployed in our environment, so we have a good count.
Yeah, this number came from where we put it on during the.
So if a staff member is accessing, like if they're not using a SAU device, are they still then a risk to us, or are we disallowing that? Do we have people doing that?
We do have people doing that. The network is set up in such a way that when you bring a device from home and connect, you were basically firewall off from the rest of the network in some different ways. So there is some stronger layer of security already inherently in place for people that bring their own devices. I'm not saying that's a perfect solution, but we already do have that in mind with the way that the network is designed.
Right now, you can't access our network from home through VPN. At some point, I'm sure I give a little bit of time, Tyler is hardcore about that.
Seems like
Don't
that's
ask
good.
me.
At least it's a great solution.
So this system, Arsenal or whatever it is, it's called Arsenal?
The company that we're buying it through is a Red Tape, but the product itself is Sentinel One.
Yeah, I think
So-
Arsenal.
Sentinel One.
Sentinel One. So Sentinel One is not it's not a backup system. It's not, which is the thing which I guess the thing I'm trying to figure out is it seems like there's a lot of aspects of preventing things from happening, but then also making sure that if and when things happen, you have the right stuff.
Yep.
And there's probably other aspects to it that I'm not aware of, but like there's like multiple stages of protection. This one seems like it's detection and response, so it's sort of like checking to see if something is happening and then telling you if something happens, right? In layman's terms?
It's largely proactive with the way that it works. And, you know, like if a backup is a reactive solution, this is much more proactive in the sense that it sits installed on all of the different computers in the district. And if something tries to get installed on the computer, it looks at what's being installed and it tries to determine, what is this actually doing on the system? Is this safe or is this not safe? And if it determines it's not safe, then it prevents that from happening and flags it until somebody either on Arente's end or our end goes in and says, okay, it's okay.
This is okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay,
And that's, you know, that's a piece of it. It detects on a lot of different levels, but it is kind of that, like it sits on every device and it's a proactive layer of protection, trying to prevent bad things from happening in the first place.
okay, and you guys have been using it now for some amount of time, and you feel like it doesn't introduce like lots of extra annoying, like it's a good, I know that whenever you install that kind of protection, there's always that thing where people then have to be like, I tried to install this thing, now I need 6 people to unlock my thing. You feel like this has been a good balance of?
It isn't, and we are already set up in the district in such a way where end users do not have rights to usually install those. So already installations have to be taken care of by IT in most cases anyways. That was an example that I gave, and if somebody's trying to install something, it looks at the machine and is more proactive in terms of more than just installs, downloads, email attachments, that kind of thing as well.
I guess partly what I'm wondering is like, this is one aspect of protection and of like making sure that, you know, information is safe and whatever else. Are there other aspects of that we should be making sure money goes towards right now as well? Like, Arente is the company that we worked with. They've conveniently provided us with an answer where if we give them money, they will protect us, which is nice, that's great.
Yeah.
But there are other aspects of protection. Are we thinking about those as well right now? And are we investing in them sufficiently in anticipation of a new IT? Like, we don't have a new IT director, and so I'm sort of like, are we doing enough right now?
I think we're doing, I don't know the answer to that. I think we don't have any more to bring to you. Like, we could go and buy something and say we're doing more, but this is the only concrete thing we know we need to do for the moment. I think as we finalize things with the report, as our tech department has some direction and say, what about this? I think you may see at a future board meeting or a budget, I believe, as far as something different, but we're doing, this is the request that we need to do right now. The rest of it, whether we're enough or not, I don't have the answer for that yet. And I don't think I'm gonna say, you know, it's not, hey, give me another $30,000 just in case. I gotta know what we're spending. I don't think that's too high. I would say that Sentinel-1, and Arente was honest about this because I asked them. Sentinel-1 is a product you can buy not through Arente. And he actually said, if you do the educational license, you probably save 40%. He was honest. But what you don't get is what he just said, is the 24-hour cyber monitoring from there. It's just a dashboard that Tyler can see, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so the expertise that comes behind it. So the software is Sentinel-1, but the reason why they call it Arsenal is it's hopefully a bigger product, is what we're trying to say.
I mean, I think like I'm sort of coming from the perspective of like, we just had an incident, and so I feel like, yes, I'm gonna be supportive of us doing what you guys think is the right thing. But in the absence of an IT director who is sort of directing this charge, I guess I feel obliged to ask more questions about like, is this sufficient? Or should somebody be saying it should be this and? Like, that's part of where.
And I think that Tim had mentioned before, we are waiting for that finalized report with more information, and then we may go out to RFP for different pieces and come back with those recommendations. Because there's multiple options how districts are that. Is it going to be an internal piece? Are we going to ask for multi-authentic fobs so we can have an extra layer of security on our computers? There's several things, but I think it will really generally be tied to that report that you guys will be receiving.
And when are we anticipating that report?
They're updated soon.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and so we're, you know, the Arente is dealing with our cyber lawyers with us, and so the cyber lawyer really driving that because is what they, where there's actually legal requirements as to what it says, it doesn't say, it's sort of an overture thing that. So soon, I wish I had a better date for it, but, we don't have like, we're gonna have a meeting, so we can push it and see if we get an exact date. But I think the last meeting we had like last week was, that's, we should, like, yeah, we're gonna get it people prepared for you with the lawyers, like, I wanna make sure what you say and how you say it is protected in this room.
Tim and I have both suggested that send a lawyer comes to our August board meeting into non-public and speaks and be able to answer some of these questions and some of the things that they found.
As I say,
Well, sort of questions, directions. One, so we have Symantec and it didn't work. Is that right?
It didn't prevent this from happening. I mean, yeah, so I guess correct. It didn't prevent this from happening.
So, I mean, don't we have grounds to like kick it back to them and just say like, listen, tear up the contract? I mean, there's gotta be something there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think also it's a complicated product and there's lots of different ways you can configure it too. Wasn't necessarily configured as well as it could have been for our environment. You know, that's something that probably would need to be looked at as well. And that's likely what Symantec would say if you tried to come at them like that.
Okay.
You know, it's not just like install it in your environment and forget about it. There's a lot that goes into setting it up, you know, so that it will be more or less useful for your particular environment.
Okay. I mean, could it, I guess then could it be configured in such a way that it would actually be effective and not require this software, additional layer of software?
I think potentially, but I think what you're really missing out on with doing that versus this is having that level of managed detection and response, having a security team on the other end that's staffed 24/7 to be able to look at and take action on these issues, you know, no matter when the issues are arising. Like this event, for example, happened in the middle of the night. You know, it started about 2:30 in the morning. If alerts were going off on a dashboard for me, I wasn't up to see it at that time. So it's that, you know, it's also that layer as well.
So you can't turn up like the Symantec and just ask them for that monitoring. It's just not something they provide.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay. And then the other question is, so this is for a year's worth, is that right?
correct.
Could you do it like for a month or do it month to month until we have a director of IT in place and decide if this is if this is the direction they like support?
Well, I didn't bring the agreement to sign, but it is billed on a monthly basis, and there may be, no, the way this is written is that it's a year term, but I can go back to them and say, can they do a month to month or something less than a year? But this is, it's billed monthly, but this contract they sent me is a year term.
I mean, it's not just again, it's not a huge cost, but again, we already have one system to have a second system, and then anyways, just the layers, it seems.
I mean, I guess like, could we ask them like, hey, can we just put in a maybe even just a 6 month, like if it's not month to month, if they don't want to do that, can we sort of say like, hey, can we have a reassessment at 6 months or something? Once we have a new IT director, I don't know, it doesn't seem like we're.
I can certainly, we're glad to ask, as long as we come out of here with the money.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what we're essentially buying is a way to move forward
Right.
at a moment when we need a way to move forward with extra support, perhaps beyond what we need, but this is a moment when that seems appropriate for a variety of reasons, and so I feel fine with that, but it would be nice if we had the ability in the nearer term to have a conversation about whether that's still appropriate, like.
I think we do that all the time. You say, hey, I mean, people don't always give you what you want, but there's never any harm in asking.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the $9 per user per month is dependent on the term,
Right.
but the way this contract is written, it looks very much a month-to-month basis.
Right.
Well,
I have
there
another
would be a
doubt.
termination clause, though, is probably what it is, but, so why don't we, have a motion, and then we can continue the discussion if we need to after the motion.
So I'll make a motion to approve, purchase of software from Arete, for up to $54,108 and potentially up to 12 months. Tim will double check all that stuff.
I second that.
We need to give you this, we need to, is that the appropriate amount to make the motion for?
Okay, that's fine.
So I have a motion by Wendy and a second by Steve. Any more discussion,
I
questions?
just have one question, not specific to this necessarily, but one of the issues it seems like we have, and we may not have this answer tonight, but, is there anything that's being done about our backup so that it will perform better?
We have had the company reach out to us and we have a call scheduled to go over the response to that and, why it was a little bit lacking. I have that meeting scheduled for next week.
Because that seemed like the other, like they got in, but then our backup also failed us a little bit. Not failed completely, but.
It was, I mean, from my operational perspective, it was, in the end, it was fine, but waiting almost like 10 days is, that was too soon to bring that up. So, yeah.
Sorry. So it was more their response than that
Right.
it actually didn't do its job. Okay.
I think it's important our team does a post-event review of this from the beginning until the end, and lessons learned and things that we can put in place for the future. So I know it came in 2 weeks before my time here, but I think it's really important that we've learned a lot about our current systems and things that we can do to improve.
So do we have any more questions on the particular motion that's on the table? Any more discussion? Okay, I guess we have to take a roll call vote because Kevin is online. So why don't we start with Kevin? The motion was to approve the purchase for the Arete software up to the total amount of $54,108 for a 12-month term. Kevin?
Yeah, one question. Wait, maybe I missed this, sorry. The software is from Arete?
Well,
Arete
this
services,
contract is- yeah.
the contract is at Arete, the software is called Sentinel One, but
Got it.
it's.
It's
the
not,
Software is not made by Arete.
okay, all right, thanks.
We're approving the contract with the red
Right,
tape.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I support it. Sorry, I'm a yay.
So Kevin is a yes?
Yes,
Steven?
Yes.
Tia?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses. The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other business that we need to discuss? I now will open public comment again for the remaining time. Do we have any more public comment from anyone either in the room or online? If you're online, you can raise your hand if you would like to speak. Okay, hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Stephen, second. Okay, again, we have to do a roll call vote, so let's say we'll go back with Kevin.
yes, in favor.
Stephen,
Yes.
Tia,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
and I am a yes, so the meeting is adjourned at 4:37. Thank you.